Starting with the name of God. So we are going with ophthalmology, that is clinical ophthalmology, and I will follow this book that is by Shafi M. Jatui. If there is any deficiency in this book, I will add it from the Yogi book. We will discuss it in a sketch form like this so that it can be easily memorized and it can be memorized for a long time. So this is about the eyelid, that it is composed of different layers, and a surgical plane or a gray line or a part or a structure where a surgical cut to be taken divide it into two lamellas, that is anterior lamella and posterior lamella. Now the anterior lamella contain different structure and the posterior lamella contain different structure. First, to discuss the diagram briefly, this is that gray line that divides the eyelid into anterior and a posterior lamella. Now, anterior to this gray line is different structure. The outermost is the skin, then subcutaneous tissues, then a skeletal muscle layer, and then here is a submuscular tissues. And posterior, here is a central part which contain dorsal plate and different meibomian glands and conjunctiva. Now, discuss in detail. The anterior lamella contain the skin that is the thinnest skin in the body and transparent skin. It includes five fine hairs which are called eyelashes, and also it contains gland that is sebaceous gland and sweat glands. Then inside to the skin is subcutaneous connective tissues. These are mostly, or their composition is a loose connective tissue, and it contains mostly fats. Now, inside the fat layer or subcutaneous connective tissues is a stratified muscle layer that is orbicularis oculi. Now, the orbicularis oculi is or contain two parts. One is the orbital part, which is inside the orbit rim, and one is palpebral part, which is in the eyelid. So here will be the palpebral part, and the submuscular connective tissues is between this orbicularis oculi muscle and the dorsal plate. So these are called submuscular connective tissues, and it contains blood vessels and nerves here. Now come to posterior lamella. In the posterior lamella, first we have the fibrous layer. So this fibrous layer is actually the central layer, and it is the thickened in the central part. It has two parts. One is thickened part, which is central, that is including this dorsal plate in the center. Okay, and one is thin or palpebral part, which include palpebral aponeurosis. Now palpebral aponeurosis is a thin portion of the levator muscle which is making a thin sheet like structure or fibrous structure, which is called palpebral aponeurosis. And I will show you this muscle here in this diagram. Here we have this levator palpebral superioris muscle, and when it pass this ligament is called superior suspensory ligament. It make in aponeurosis, which is called levator aponeurosis, but it also make inside a thin fibrous layer, which is known as palpebral aponeurosis. Okay, then inside it is levator muscle aponeurosis, which I have showed you in the diagram. Now this has two parts. One is muscular part, one is membranous part. The muscular part is inside the orbit ring, and the membranous part is in the upper eyelid, which is shown here in this diagram. This is the membranous part of the levator aponeurosis. Now, this includes skin, tarsal plate, canthal folds. Canthal folds are two folds, one is medial and one is lateral. I will show it here. This is the lateral canthal fold and this is the medial canthal fold, where these pretarsal muscles combines and make muscle. I will show you these are pretarsal muscles and these are preceptal muscle. So these pretarsal and preceptal muscle here form different corners, which are called canthals, and also they form the upper fornical conjunctiva. Now, here is a non-straightened muscle or a smooth muscle that is called Muller's muscle, or it is in autonomic system control muscle. It is in the deep structure, so it cannot be seen here in this diagram. So, in the upper eyelid, it arises from the levator tendon in insert into the upper tarsus muscle. In the lower eyelid, it arises from the inferior rectus muscle and insert into a lower tarsus muscle. Here is also a membranous layer of the conjunctiva. This is the innermost layer. This is the conjunctiva membranous layer. It is thin, transparent, and it is vascular layer. And it is also adhering to a tarsal plate, as we can see it here. This is the palpebral part, and this is a tarsal plate. Now about lid margins. So here they are discussing that in lid margin we have eyelashes. These eyelashes are in 2 to 3 rows, and these are anterior to the gray line. So we have discussed about the gray line. I am again showing to you in the diagram. This is the gray line, and these are the eyelashes. So these eyelashes are anterior to a gray line. whereas the openings of the meibomian gland are posterior to a gray line. This is MCQ's point, so you have to remember it. Then again, come here, we have glands of Zeus and moles. Now these are modified gland. We will discuss it in a while. And here are orifices of meibomian gland, which are posterior to a gray line, which I have shown to you. Then we have glands of eyelid. So first of all, in eyelid we have skin, and the associated gland with the skins are sweat and sebaceous everywhere. Then we have the tarsal plate. So in the tarsal plate we have glands called meibomian glands. These meibomian glands have oily secretions. Now in the upper eyelid there are 30 to 40 meibomian glands. In the lower eyelid there are 20 to 30 meibomian glands. It means in the upper eyelid there are more meibomian glands than the lower eyelid. So the chances of a disease of meibomian gland will be high in the upper eyelid as compared to lower eyelid. Then they are saying about the lid margin glands. So in the lid margin we have again modified sebaceous glands, and these glands are attached to hair follicles of the eyelashes. So these are called these glands. And again we have a sweat modified gland. Here we have this point is very important, you have to remember it. Sebaceous modified glands are these, while modified sweat glands are glands of moles. So this is important, and these are also obliquely associated with the eyelashes or bulb of the hair follicles of the eyelashes. Blood supply of the lid margin. So in the blood supply we have two arteries, ophthalmic arteries and lacrimal arteries. Their branches supplies the lid margin, which are called medial or palpebral branches. Then we have lymphatic drainage. Again, we have two lymph nodes that runs in a periauricular lymph node and submandibular lymph node. Then the nerve supply are of two types. One is motor supply and the other is sensory supply. So the motor supply are by different cranial nerves. Number first, the oculomotor nerve or third cranial nerve supply the levator muscle, levator palpebrae superioris muscle we can say. And a facial nerve. Facial nerve is the nerve of facial expression. It supplies all those muscles which are involved in facial expression. So the orbicularis oculi muscle is the part of facial expression, so it is supplied by facial nerve. Then we have sympathetic system. Sympathetic supplies smooth muscle, so we have the Muller's muscle which are supplied by sympathetic nerve. Then the sensory supplies are by the trigeminal nerve or fifth cranial nerve, but its two branches, the ophthalmic and the maxillary branch, not the mandibular branch, because the mandibular branch comes down here, and the maxillary branch are here, and the ophthalmic branch are here, which both are goes to the orbit of the eye or a lid margin, where they supplies the sensory supply. So in the sensory supply, we can say here the sensory supply are by trigeminal nerve in its two divisions, V1 and V2, or ophthalmic or maxillary respectively. So the upper eyelid margins are supplied by different branches, and the lower eyelid margin are supplied by different branches, or there are common branches. The infraorbital nerve, supratrochlear nerve, supraorbital nerve, and the lacrimal nerve supply the upper eyelid, whereas infratrochlear nerve, and the lacrimal nerve supplies the lower eyelid. Now, the things in the this color, they are common nerves. They are common nerves such as lacrimal nerve and infraorbital nerve. So they both supply the upper eyelid and lower eyelid. The supratrochlear nerve supply the upper eyelid, but the infratrochlear nerve supply the lower eyelid. You have to know about it. And these nerve branch which are supraorbital nerve, this is only specific to the upper eyelid. It is not involved in the lower eyelid. Now we have function of the eyelid. And function of the eyelid, first of all, we it is involved in production to any external injury or stimuli or any external foreign body. They protect it by closing the eye. Number second, there are meibomian gland, and these meibomian gland provide oily secretion, and these oily secretion prevent the draining of the eye. Number third, here are tears or tear film in our eyeball or on our eyeball. So, in the pocket of the orbit, which is made by the lids, it is kept by the eyelid movements. Now, here are two functions. Now, first of all, the distribution of the tears. So, the distribution is taken place by the movement of the eyelid, and the second, support to tear films. If there were no lower eyelid, then all the tears will be drawn down. But the lower eyelid keep and maintain the tear film within the eye. So here the lower eyelid support the tear film.